What's up, Jaguar fans? It's your boy UCF Jaguar, and today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the Jaguars retaining Todd Wash as the Jaguars' defensive coordinator. In my previous video, I explained why I liked Doug Marrone as our head coaching hire. But on the flip side of it, I really didn't like Todd Wash as our defensive coordinator. Now, when you look at his numbers, he had like a top 10 defense. He warrants his job to return as the defensive coordinator. But there were just some things, and dating back to when free agency began in 2016, that kind of threw some red flags to me. And to take us back to there, I really thought our defense was a pass rusher away from being a great defense, honestly. I thought if we had a pass rusher and we were able to get the quarterback a little better, then it would have created a lot more opportunities for the secondary and maybe helped us get some more turnovers. But when we go back to free agency 2016, we were trying to get this pass rusher. I remember we were trying to get Olivier Vernon, but that was never going to work out just because he really didn't want to be in Jacksonville, and he was just kind of trying to use the Jaguars to get more money out of the Giants. But when I think about Robert Ayers, he pretty much said that the reason why he didn't come to Jacksonville was because he really didn't like how much the coaches hang their heads on the scheme, and he just thought that you should kind of use your, kind of play to your best abilities when it comes to what you're given. But it just drew some red flags because I looked at it and I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. But then you see once Gus Bradley gets fired, then all the players pretty much think it's going to be a clean house. And then they start speaking out about, let's say, our former first two-round picks, for example, Jalen Ramsey and Dante Fowler. Each of them said they felt, quote-unquote, caged in this scheme, and that they felt like they weren't getting used effectively. So that kind of drew me back to last spring during free agency that maybe we're not using the right defensive scheme because we have so much talent on this team. I really can't think of a defensive coordinator that really couldn't use this talent, and then maybe another defensive coordinator would have been to use this a little better, but who knows. But reason number two why I didn't want Todd Wash to be retained as defensive coordinator is I can remember dating back to week 4 in London. We were playing Indianapolis. There was a play that went for like 30 yards that Yannick Ngakoue was literally covering T.Y. Hilton. That should never happen. And I remember another game, there was Malik Jackson way downfield. I forget which game it was, but Malik Jackson was downfield covering somebody 15, 20 yards down the field as well. It's like, I don't care. If you say matchup Yannick Ngakoue on T.Y. Hilton, then one of two things happen. Todd Wash either got outsmarted by the offensive coordinator or Andrew Luck. And it's just, it's not T.Y. Hilton's like a top 10 receiver in this league. You're not going to want a defensive end covering him. But anywho, that threw me off how there were literally defensive linemen way downfield covering guys. But another reason why I didn't want to retain Todd Wash was because we need to find a way to get Miles Jack on this field. I'm not mad with us playing nickel and having Telvin Smith and Puz on the field, but if we ever have 3 linebackers in and Scuda is in over Miles Jack, especially in the last 4 weeks of the year, what the heck's the point of playing Scuda? I mean, we have Miles Jack, a second-round pick. He's got all the talent in the world. We basically put him on a shelf this year. And then hopefully we can find a way to get him on the field next year because I don't see Puz taking a step back, and I definitely don't see Telvin Smith taking a step back. So we gotta find a way to maximize these guys and get these guys on the field. It's so frustrating when I'm sitting there seeing Dan Scuda trying to get in and get a tackle and him being outrun around the edge, and I'm sitting here like, okay, well, we got this steal in the second round named Miles Jack. Why is he not out there? Miles Jack, I really liked him at UCLA. I remember him back when he was a freshman. I was a big fan of him. The dude's a beast. I remember that one play when we were playing Houston in Jacksonville. There was Lamar Miller run down the field. It's like, man, he's gone. And next thing you know, you see this dude come out of the screen, literally come in and make a tackle on him on a 1 yard line. I mean, that was super impressive with me. And just another reason, it's kind of bad to be calling for people's heads like this, but I wanted Marrone to stay coach because I wanted to keep Hackett, which I'll discuss in my next video. But when you're a 3-13 team, I think you need to shake some things up. I mean, even though Todd Wash basically it's basically pretty much all. The thing I do like about it, though, it's basically only him, and there's pretty much the whole defensive staff got fired and rehired, or we hired people for new positions. So I guess that's gonna help provide kind of bring some new heads in here and new brains and kind of see how to maximize these guys' potential and hopefully bring a new brain in the room, because there's some things that need to be changed about this scheme. It's gonna be interesting to see how much it does change, because it's pretty much gonna be the difference is just gonna be pretty much how much Gus kind of had on this defense. But anyway, those were some of the reasons why I didn't want to keep Todd Wash. But hopefully next year we can try to play to more of the strengths. Like, two things I really want to see. I want to see Dante Fowler maybe playing more in a 2-point stance, because I remember watching him at Florida, and that's really what he's best doing, especially since this year he didn't really have any pass rush moves. So hopefully he can work on that. But I'd definitely like to see him more of a 2-point stance, because I think that's where he's more dangerous, maybe in like an outside linebacker kind of look. And just get Miles Jack on the field, man. I want to see this guy play. I want to see what he's got. And yeah, I'm excited. I think this defense is really good. That's why I was wanting to maybe bring a new guy in, just because get like a fresh look at this defense. And because we have so much talent on this defense, from the defensive line, we have an elite linebacker crew, and we have some really good defensive backs. So I'm optimistic about this defense. It's definitely held us in a lot of games, but they need to take that next step to where because there were a couple times, like the very last week against the Colts, where they had the ball, they could have made a stop to end the game, but then they just kind of let them drive down the field. But those were some of the reasons why I didn't want to keep Todd Wash. I appreciate you guys watching my video. I really appreciate if you guys like and subscribe, and you guys will be seeing UCF Jaguar in the future. Go Jags!